A 13-year-old girl arrives into the hospital carrying a baby in her arms, and when she revealed who the baby belonged, when everyone in the room started crying, the sun had barely begun to peep over the horizon, when the automatic doors of San Rafael General Hospital opened wide. The morning shift workers had only just began their duties, and the smell of freshly prepared coffee blended with the usual fragrance of antiseptic that filled the hallways. Nurse Lucia Mendoza, with 15 years of expertise behind her, was at the emergency reception desk checking the files. From the previous night, her sleepy eyes examined the lines of the papers while she sipped from her coffee. Still too hot. Another quiet day, she thought, unknowing that she was about to face one of the most startling instances of her career. The sound of hurried footsteps attracted her attention. Lucia looked up from the papers, expecting to see a colleague, going late, or even an early patient. What she saw, however, stopped her in place. For a minute, a small girl who couldn't have been more than 10 years old was walking through the hospital doors. Her dark hair was tangled, and her attire, a cotton t-shirt and shorts, looked hastily placed on. Yet what truly surprised Lucia saw what the girl was holding in her arms. A small infant wrapped in a blanket. "Oh my God!" Lucia shouted, walking out from behind the desk. "Are you okay, dear?" The female, with wide, scared eyes, glanced at Lucia without speaking. Her arms trembled gently as she cradled the bundle near to her bosom. I was ordered to come here," the girl mumbled, mewed, her voice weak. Lucia approached cautiously, extending her hands. "It's okay, honey, you're safe. Here, may I see what you're carrying?" With slow, careful movements. Lucia peeled back section of the blanket. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw the small face of a newborn. The baby was sleeping quietly, oblivious of the mayhem that was about to erupt. Carmen Lucia yelled to her co-worker who had just entered. "I need aid here now. Carmen." A young nurse in. Her second year raced over her eyes, widened at the sight. "Oh my God," she muttered. "What?" called Dr. Ramirez. Lucia commanded, not taking her eyes off the child, and bring a stretcher swiftly. As Carmen raced off, Lucia knelt in front of the girl, attempting to be calm despite the torrent of questions churning in her mind. "Honey, what's your name?" she said softly. The girl blinked as if attempting to absorb the question. Anish finally replied, "My name is Anna. You're extremely brave for coming here," Lucia said, making an attempt to keep her tone gentle. "Can you explain me what happened?" Anna gazed down at the infant in her arms, then back. At Lucia, tears welled up in her eyes. I don't know. I woke up and he was there. It hurts so much lose heart." Fell at those words. Years of experience informed her that this was a dreadful scenario. But right now, the objective was to be stay cool and aid Anna. "It's okay, honey. You don't need to say anything right now. We're going to take care of you and the baby." All right, at that moment, Carmen returned with a stretcher, followed closely by Dr. Ramirez, a middle-aged man with a stern look. "Lucia, what do we have?" here inquired the doctor, immediately examining the issue. "Anna, around 10 years old," Lucia reported. In a professional tone, she arrived a few minutes ago with a newborn. She's bewildered and mentions agony. Dr. Ramirez nodded, his face a veneer of professional care. He approached Anna and stated in a calm but forceful voice, "Hey, Anna, I'm Dr. Ramirez. We're going to take care of you and the baby, all right? Can you lie down on the stretcher so we can carry you to a room?" Anna stared at the stretcher, apprehensively hugging the baby tightly against her bosom. "You won't take the baby away from me, will you?" she inquired, her voice shaking. The doctor exchanged a quick glance with Lucia before saying, "No, Anna, the baby will stay with you. We just want to make sure you're both okay." Gently, they put Anna onto the stretcher. Lucia observed the kid, Weiss, in pain. As she moved, confirming her worst suspicions as they proceeded down the hallway toward an examination room, hospital workers began to take attention. Whispers and astonished stares followed the group, but the medical team disregarded them. Concentrate on their young patient. Ana Lucia remarked as they walked, "Is there anyone we can call your parents?" Ana shook her head, her eyes locked on the infant. "I don't know. I don't want them to be furious." Dr. Ramirez scowled at this reaction but maintained his calm tone. "Don't worry about that now. Ana, the important thing is that you're here and we can help you." When they reached the examination room, the staff moved with practiced efficiency. Carmen readied the room while Lucia helped Ana settle into the hospital bed. "Ana, doctor," Ramirez said, "we need to examine the infant. Is it all right if Lucia holds him for a second?" Ana paused, her arms tightening around a little bundle. Lucia came closer, her voice soothing and reassuring. "I'll be right. Hair love, you can watch everything." "We do. We just want to make sure the baby is healthy after a long moment." Ana gently nodded with extreme concern. Lucia grabbed the baby from Anna's arms. The small one stirred slightly but did not wake. "It's a boy," Lucia murmured, scrutinizing the newborn. "With an expert eye, he appears like he's just a few hours old." Dr. Ramirez nodded, making mental notes. Carmen, prepare for a complete inspection of the infant Lucia. Stay with Ana. I'm going to ask a few questions, and I need you here as Carmen brought the baby to an adjacent examination table. Dr. Ramirez sat down beside Anna's bed. His demeanor was gentle, but his eyes expressed serious concern. "Ana," he began, "I know this is uncomfortable, but I need to ask you some things so we can help you. Is that okay?" Ana nodded, though her gaze stayed riveted on the baby that Carmen was checking. "Can you explain me how you went to the hospital this morning?" Ana blinked, as if trying to recollect. "I walked. I suppose it wasn't too far. Did anyone bring you or tell you to come?" "A lady," Ana murmured, "on the street. She saw me and told me I needed to come to the hospital." Lucia and the doctor shared a glance. The narrative was growing more complicated by the second. Ana, Dr. Ramirez asked gently, "Do you know how the baby arrived to you?" The girl scowled, definitely puzzled. "I woke up and he was there." "It aches a lot, doctor did." "I do. Something wrong." Lucia's heart broke at those words. She grasped Anna's hand, stroking it gently. "No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong. We're here to help you." Dr. Ramirez took a long breath before continuing. "Ana, I need to examine why you're in pain. Is it okay if I do that?" Ana nodded while dread was clear in her eyes. Lucia stayed by her side, holding her hand, and whispered words of support as the doctor performed a preliminary exam. The tension in the room was obvious. Carmen, who had finished checking the infant, joined them, her face a professional mask barely disguising her shock. "The infant looks to be in decent condition," she reported gently. "He'll require some more thorotists, but his vital signs are stable." Dr. Ramirez nodded his countenance. Grim, as he finished his initial examination of Ana, he rose up, exchanging a meaningful look. "With the nurses, Ana," he said, his voice gentle but serious. "We're going to take very good care of you and the baby. We'll need to run some more testing, and you'll probably have to stay in the hospital for a time. Do you understand?" Ana nodded, though. It was evident she didn't fully get the situation. "Can I see the baby now?" she said in a timid voice. "Of course," Lucia replied, nodding to Carmen when Carmen brought the baby back. Dr. Ramirez approached Lucia and whispered in a low voice, "We need to notify social services and the police and get a team ready for more extensive exams. This is going to be a tough case." Lucia nodded, her heart hard. "I'll stay with her," she replied, staring at Ana, who was now carrying the infant again, a mixture of perplexity and tenderness on her little face. Dr. Ramirez left the room, his mind already working. On the next critical steps, Lucia sat beside Anna, observing as the girl looked down at the infant with a mixture of awe and terror. "He's so small," Anna mumbled. "Sure, he is," Lucia answered gently. "You've been very brave, Anna. We're here to help you. Okay, you're not alone." Anna looked up here, yes, filled with unshed tears. "I'm terrified," she said in a whisper. Lucia felt her heart hurt a little more. "I know, sweetheart, but you're safe here." It promised while the sun continued to rise in the sky, lighting the room with golden light. Lucia stayed by Anna's side, holding her hand and delivering the silent consolation that only years of experience could supply. She knew the days ahead would be difficult. But for now, in this moment, her mission was to be an anchor for this little child whose world had suddenly changed forever outside the room. The hospital was humming with activity. Physicians and nurses hurried past, some casting curious looks at the locked door. Tales were already starting to spread. Whispers of shock and surprise at the odd scenario. Dr. Ramirez returned after what felt like a lifetime. His face showed symptoms of anxiety, but he kept a cool expression as he entered. "The room, Anna," he whispered gently. Approaching the bed, "We've prepared a separate room for you and the baby. Would it be all right if we relocated you there? It will be more comfortable and private." Anna looked at Lucia, seeking reassurance. The nurse nodded with a calming smile. "I'll be with you the whole time." Extremely gently, they transported Anna and the baby to a private room in the pediatric wing. The area was bright and adorned with soothing hues and pleasant artwork on the walls, an attempt to make the place less frightening for young patients. Soon they were settled. Dr. Ramirez sat next to Anna's bed. "Anna, there are some people who will come to talk to you shortly. They are specialists who want to help you. Is that acceptable?" Anna nodded, though her expression displayed confusion. "Why is everyone so scared? Did I do something wrong?" The doctor softly grasped Anna's hand. "No, Anna, you haven't done anything wrong. However, something extremely severe has happened, and we need to understand what happened, so we can support you in the greatest way possible." At that point, a social worker named Elena entered the room. Her face conveyed a blend of compassion and professionalism as she reached the bed. "Hello, Anna," she murmured in a quiet voice. "I'm Elena. I'm here to serve you and make sure you're well taken care of. Can I sit down and talk with you for a short while?" Anna nodded her gaze, going between Elena, Dr. Ramirez, and Lucia. The nurse gave her a reassuring touch on the hand, delivering a calming smile. Elena sat next to the bed, her voice gentle and relaxing Anna. "Can you tell me a little about yourself? How old are you?" "I'm 10 years old," Anna responded quietly, her fingers anxiously toying with the blanket that covered the baby. Elena nodded, retaining a nice look. "And do you live with your parents?" "Anna?" The girl averted her gaze, her voice barely a whisper. "With my mom and my dad." Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged a short glance but maintained their emotions neutral. "Do you know where they are now?" Elena said gently. Anna shook her head, her eyes filled with tears. "I don't want them to come. They'll be extremely furious." Elena leaned in slightly, her voice filled with sympathy. "Anna, no one here is mad at you. We're all worried and want to help. Can you tell us why you think they'd be furious?" The girl stayed silent for a minute, her eyes locked on the infant, quietly resting in her arms when she finally spoke. Her voice was barely loud. "Since I brought the infant here, it was meant to be a secret." The stillness that followed was heavy-weighted with ramifications. None of the adults in the room wanted to ponder. Lucia, noticing the increasing tension, interfered gently. "Anna? Love, are you hungry? I can bring you something to eat." "If you like." Anna nodded slowly, happy for the change in subject. "Yes, please," as Lucia left to fetch dinner. Dr. Ramirez approached Elena and whispered in a quiet voice, "We need to run some more extensive testing both on Anna and the infant, and we need to contact the authorities." Elena nodded, her expression somber. "I agree. I'll start the essential procedures for now. The most important thing is for Anna to feel protected. Once comfortable," the doctor shifted his attention back to Anna, who was looking at the infant with a mix of curiosity and concern. "Anna," he added, "soft. Lee, we need to run some more tests to make sure you and the baby are healthy. Is it okay if we bring in some specialists to check on you?" Anna looked up, dread obvious in her eyes. "Will it hurt? We do everything we can to make sure it doesn't hurt," Dr. Ramirez replied gently. "And Lucia, or I will be with you the whole time if you like." Just then, Lucia appeared with a plate of food. The smells of hot soup and fresh bread filled the room, bringing a small break from the stress look. Ana Lucia stated with a war smile, "I've brought you something to eat. Why don't you try having a little soup while we talk?" Anna nodded, enabling Lua to place the plate in front of her gently. The nurse lifted the baby in her arms so Anna could feed while Anna ate slowly. Elena continued asking mild inquiries, trying to get more information without stressing the youngster too hard. "Anna, can you tell me how you felt when you saw the baby for the first time?" Anna sat down the spoon and glanced at the small infant resting in Lucia's arms. "I was terrified," she revealed. "I didn't know what to do, but I also thought he was cute." Elena nodded understandingly. "It's usual to feel terrified in a scenario like this. You did the right thing by coming to the hospital. What's going to happen now, Anna?" said her voice trembling. "Are you going to take me home?" Dr. Ramirez gently intervened for now. "Anna, you'll stay here at the hospital. We need to make sure you're fully okay before we decide what happens next. Is that all right?" Anna nodded, though it was evident that the uncertainty worried her, sensing her anxiety. Lucia sought to distract her. "Anna, have you thought of a name for the baby?" she said, holding the little surprised Anna, who stared in astonishment. "Can I name him?" "Certainly, course," Lucia responded with a pleasant grin. "Do you have any thoughts?" Anna paused for a moment, her face softening as she glanced at the baby. Maybe Miguel, like the archangel, since he can protect him. The adults in the room exchanged looks, struck by the purity and kindness in Anna's words. "Miguel is a great name," Elena said. Softly, "I'm sure he'll protect him." As the conversation proceeded, Dr. Ramirez silently left the room in the corridor, Hemet with the head of pediatrics, Dr. Sanchez, who was waiting with a concerned attitude. "What do we have?" Dr. Sanchez inquired, quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed, heavy. It's worse than we previously imagined. The daughter Anna is only 10 years old. The infant seems to be a baby. We're dealing with a case of terrible child maltreatment." Dr. Sanchez closed his gaze for a second, analyzing the information. "My God, have you contacted the authorities?" "Yet the social worker is on it. We also need a professional team for the testing and child psychology." "Of course, you'll have it," Dr. Sanchez assured him. "Whatsoever resources as you require. This case is a priority." While the physicians reviewed the next measures in the corridor within the room, Anna had finished eating. She was once again carrying baby Miguel in her arms. Lucia sat alongside, her looking with a mix of awe and despair as the girl tenderly brushed the baby's cheek. "He's so tiny," Anna murmured. "Will he grow soon?" Lucia smiled softly. "Yeah, he'll grow very quickly. Infants grow at an astonishing speed." Anna frowned, a shadow of fear crossing her face. "And what will happen to him? Will he stay with me?" Elena, who had been observing silently, spoke up gently. "Anna, there are many things we need to work out first for. Now, the most important thing is that both you and Miguel are well and safe. We'll make sure you both receive the greatest care possible." The girl nodded slowly, while it was evident that the uncertainty disturbed her. Watching her Suddenly, Lucia decided to shift the subject. Anna, would you like me to read you a tale? We have lots of lovely books here in the hospital. Anna's eyes brightened slightly at the offer. Can you read me one about angels? Like Miguel, Lucia smiled, happy to be able to offer a moment of normalcy amidst the chaos. Of course, love. Let me see what I can discover as Lucia departed to hunt for a book. Dr. Ramirez returned to the room. His expression was stern, but courteous as he spoke to Anna. Anna, we're going to need to run some tests on you soon. But before we do, is there anything you need anything that would make you feel more comfortable? Anna considered for a bit before saying, Shilly, may I have a plush animal for Miguel Dr. Ramirez's heart HAD at the innocence of the request, of course. Anna, I'll make sure you have a plush animal for Miguel. As the day went, the hospital became a hive of controlled activity. Specialist doctors, adding nurses, and more social workers were called in. The cops arrived stealthily, examining the medical staff out of Anna's sight in the room, unconscious of the drama developing around her. Anna listened attentively as Lucia read her a story about guardian angel's infant Miguel lay quietly in a little crib beside the bed with a newly purchased teddy bear, maintained vigil on the bedside table despite the seeming serenity in the room. All the grown-ups involved in the case understood this was only the beginning. The next hours and days would bring unprecedented obstacles, difficult decisions, and perhaps the start of a healing process for Anna and Miguel. As the sun began to set, spreading a golden light across the room, Lucia observed Anna, who had now fallen asleep, worn from the day's emotions. The nurse sighed gently, mentally preparing herself for the days ahead. She knew this case would leave an indelible imprint on everyone involved. But for now, her objective was to ensure that Anna felt safe and protected. The first day was nearing to an end. However, Anna and Miguel narrative was just beginning, and as darkness fell over San Rafael General Hospital, a sense of determination decided among the team they would do everything in their power to help this little girl and her baby, no matter the hurdles they would confront. The next morning dawned gloomy and rainy, as if the sky reflected the weight of the crisis unfolding at San Rafael General Hospital. In Anna's room, the gloomy light streaming through the curtains found Lucia. The nurse tenderly and carefully changing baby Miguel's diaper. Anna slowly awoke, staring in uncertainty before the events of the previous day came flooding back. She sat up and bed-watching Lucia. With the baby? Good morning, sweetheart. Lucia welcomed her with a warm smile. How are you feeling today? Anna shrugged, her voice still horror from sleep. I'm okay, I think. How's Miguel? Hune's wonderful, Lucia replied, holding the baby so Anna could see. He's a really strong and healthy boy. At that moment, Dr. Ramirez entered the room, followed by Elena, the social worker, and a woman Anna didn't recognize. Good morning, Anna. Dr. Ramirez greeted her. Glad you were able to get some rest. There are a few folks that would like to speak with you today. Is that all right? Anna nodded timidly, her gaze wandering between the grown-ups with some anxiety. The new woman came forward, her face kind and her voice soothing as she stated, Hello, Anna. My name is Dr. Martinez. I'm a child psychologist, and I'm here to discuss with you and help you understand everything that's going on. Is it okay if we chat for a little while? Anna nodded again. It was evident she was nervous, noticing her pain. Lucia stepped forward. Would you like to hold Miguel while you talk to Dr. Martinez? She offered. Anna's eyes brightened slightly, and she extended out her arms. Lucia carefully placed the baby in Anna's lap, making sure they were both comfortable. Dr. Martinez sat beside the bed, her voice calm and soothing. Anna, I realize all of this may be terribly confusing and maybe a little scary for you. I want you to know that we're here to help, and you can chat to us about anything that's upsetting you. Is there anything you'd like to ask? Anna remained silent for a minute, her fingers absent-mindedly fiddling with the blanket wrapped around Miguel. Finally, in a barely audible voice, she whispered, When can I go home? The question made the grown-ups in the room exchange rapid glances. It was Elena who responded attentively, anaphor. Now the most essential thing is to make sure you're entirely well and safe. We're going to need you to stay in the hospital a little longer. Good. Anna frowned, evidently displeased with the answer. But what about my mom? Does she know I'm here? Dr. Ramirez drew closer, his voice soothing but strong. Anna, we've been attempting to reach your family, but before we do that, we need to understand exactly what happened. Can you tell us a little more about how Miguel got to you? The girl averted her look, her eyes fixated on the infant she was carrying when she spoke. Her voice was barely a whisper. I don't know. I woke up and he was there. Dr. Martinez softly interfered Anna. I know this is hard, but it's vitally necessary. If you tell us the truth, you're not in trouble. I swear we just want to help. Anna sat silent for what felt like an eternity. Lucia, noting her anguish, stepped closer and grasped her free hand, giving her a soothing squeeze. It's okay, sweetheart, Lucia muttered. We're here for you, finally. Anna looked up, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't understand what was going on. It hurt a lot, and I was afraid the stillness that followed was heavy-filled. With sorrow and compassion, Dr. Ramirez closed his eyes for a time, striving to retain his professional composure. Anna, he replied gently but firmly, I need to ask you some more questions. They may be challenging, but it's really vital that you answer. Truly, can you do that for me? Anna nodded slowly, her arms reflexively tightening around Miguel. Did someone hurt you? Anna, did someone touch you in a manner that made you feel uneasy or terrified? Tears began to fall down Anna's face as she nodded. Silently, Elena. Her painful asked, softly, Can you tell us who it was? Dear Anna closed her eyes shut as if trying to block out a horrible memories. When she eventually spoke, her voice was barely audible. My stepfather. The revelation landed like a bomb in the room. Lucia stifled a sob, her eyes brimming with tears. Dr. Ra clutched his fists, fighting to restrain his rage. Elena and Dr. Martinez exchanged. Grim, looking knowing the issue had just grown immensely more complicated, Anna Dr. Martinez replied, quietly, yet firmly, You've been really brave by telling us this. I want you to know that none of what occurred is your fault completely. None of it? Anna looked up, her eyes, desperately seeking affirmation truly. But I didn't say anything I didn't? Seek for aid. It's not your obligation to ask for help in a case like this, Elena assured her. You are a child. The adults in your life should have protected you. Dr. Ramirez, having regained his professional composure, approached the bed. Anna will need to do some additional tests to make sure you're entirely healthy. Is it okay if we bring in a special specialist to evaluate? Anna nodded timidly, but her dread was clear. Lucia, seeing her uneasiness, stepped in. I'll be with you the whole time if you want. Dear, the nurse offered, and Miguel, Anna inquired, staring at the baby in her arms. Miguel will stay right here in the room. Dr. Ramirez promised her we won't take him anywhere without telling you up front. As the medical team prepared for the examinations, Dr. Martinez stayed with Anna, speaking quietly to her and helped her comprehend what was happening. Anna, I realize all of this is terribly overwhelming, the psychologist said. But I want you to know that you are really strong. You've been through something incredibly traumatic, yet you're here taking care of Miguel. That shows how brave and kind you are. Anna gazed at Miguel, a slight smile growing on her lips. It's just he's so little. He needs someone to take care of him, and you're doing a good job, Dr. Martinez assured her. But now it's time for us to take care of you too good. At that moment, a new doctor entered the room. Her face was friendly and her voice sweet as she introduced herself. Hello, Anna. I'm Dr. Lopez. I'm going to do some tests to make sure you're entirely well. ISIS, okay? If we get started, Anna nodded, but her body visibly tightened. Lucia came closer, offering her hand for Anna to clasp. "I'm right here with you, dear," the nurse murmured. "Everything is going to be okay." As Dr. Lopez did the exams, Dr. Ramirez moved out of the room to consult with the legal and social services team that had arrived at the hospital in the conference room. The atmosphere was tense. Detective Go leading. The investigation was the first to comment. "This is a clear instance of child abuse and rape." He claimed, his voice filled with hardly restrained wrath. "We need to move immediately to safeguard Anna and the baby." The social services representative, Mrs. Rodriguez, nodded gravely. "We're commencing the procedures to remove Anna from her mother's custody. It's apparent she either couldn't or wouldn't protect her." "What do we know?" Concerning the mother, Dr. Ramirez inquired. "We haven't been able to locate her yet." Detective Gomez responded, "Although we have a warrant out for the stepfather's arrest, we're doing everything we can to find him." While the adults discussed the legal and medical sides of the situation back in Anna's room, Dr. Lopez finished the examination. "You've been really brave, Anna," the doctor stated with a friendly smile. "We're all done for now." Anna, clearly relieved. Relax. Against the pillows, Lucia brought her a drink of water, which the girl happily accepted. Am I sick?" Anna asked, timidly. Dr. Lopez shook her head. "You're not sick, Anna, yet your body has been through a lot. We're going to make sure you get all the care you need to recover properly at that point." Miguel began to cry gently. Anna instantly leaned toward the crib, her face full with concern. "I think he's hungry," she whispered, staring at Lucia uncertainly. The nurse smiled, heading toward the crib. "You're right, it's about time for his meal. Would you like to help me feed him?" Anna's eyes brightened up at the prospect. "Can I, of course?" Lucia replied. "Preparing a bottle. I'll show you how to make it." As Lucia guided Anna on how to hold and feed Miguel, Dr. Martinez watched the event with a mix of admiration and despair. It was evident that, despite everything Anna had been through, she had a natural maternal instinct and a close attachment with the kid. "You're doing excellent, Anna," Dr. Martinez commended. "Miguel is blessed to have you." Anna smiled shyly here, yes, riveted on the infant who was enthusiastically eating Hone's simple to love, she muttered. The moment of tenderness was disrupted by the return of Dr. Ramirez and Elena, their solemn expressions. "Didn't go noticed" by Anna, who immediately tensed. "What's happening?" she said, her voice tinted with worry. "Are they going to take Miguel away?" Elena swiftly moved to comfort her. "No, Anna, Miguel is remaining here with you for now, but there are certain things we need to talk." Dr. Ramirez approached, his voice calm but serious. "Anna, based on what you've told us and the results of the tests we've had to alert the police about your predicament." Anna's eyes widened in fright. "The cops, but I didn't do anything wrong, did I?" "No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong," Elena assured her. "The cops are here to help safeguard you and Miguel and my mom." Anna asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Does she know I'm here?" There was an uncomfortable silence before. Elena gently said, "We're trying to reach your mom, Anna, but for now, the most essential thing is making sure you're secure and being looked for." Anna seemed to digest this for a second, her attention sliding to Miguel, who was now sleeping blissfully in her arms. When she said again, her voice was barely a whisper, "Am I going to have to go back home?" The question made every adult in the room feel a pang of pain. It was Dr. Martinez who responded, her voice full of kindness. "No, Anna, you're not going back to that house. We're going to find a safe place for you and for Miguel." Anna nodded slowly, a mix of relief and worry crossing her face. Can we stay with Miguel and me?" Elena and Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance. It was a complicated question with important legal and ethical ramifications. "We'll do everything we can to keep you together," Elena promised. Though all the grown-ups in the room knew the truth may be far more challenging, the rest of the day passed. In a frenzy of activity, police officers arrived and went secretly as hospital staff worked feverishly to tend to Anna and Miguel's requirements. Around mid-afternoon, investigator Gomez sought to speak with Ana. Dr. Ramirez and Dr. Martinez exchanged anxious eyes. Is it truly essential? Dr. Ramirez inquired Ana. Has already gone through so much today, Detective. Gomez nodded. Gravely. I appreciate your concern, Doctor, but we need her. Statement to proceed with the case. I vow to be as gentle as possible. Dr. Martinez stepped in. I'll be present throughout the interview, and if you notice Ana growing too anxious, we'll stop immediately. Grudgingly, Dr. Ramirez agreed. They approached Ana's chamber, where the kid was sitting on the bed holding Miguel as Lucia taught her how to change a diaper. Ana. Dr. Ramirez stated, Hello. There's someone here who needs to ask you some questions. HEK a police officer, but you don't have to be afraid, Doctor. Martinez and I shall be here the whole time. Ana gazed at the detective with fear. Her arms unconsciously wrapped around Miguel. Investigator Gomez arrived with a nice smile. Hello, Ana. I'm Detective Gomez. I realize you've had a terribly rough day, but I need to ask you some questions about what occurred. Is that okay? Ana nodded slowly, her gaze bouncing between the detective and Dr. Martinez for comfort. Okay, fine, the investigator asked, sitting close the bed. Ana, can you tell me a little about your life at home? Who do you live with? Ana hesitated before answering with my mom. And my stepfather. And what's it like living with them? The detective inquired kindly. Ana averted her gaze, her fingers nervously toying with Miguel's blanket. Sometimes it's hard. My stepfather gets upset a lot. Does he get angry with you? The investigator probed gently. Ana nodded, tears building in Hearies. Yep, he says. I'm a problem that I shouldn't have been born. Dr. Martinez held Ana's hand, offering silent support as the investigator continued. Ana, can you tell me about the night Miguel was born? Do you remember what occurred? Ana pinched her eyes shut, as if trying to blot out an unpleasant memory. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. It hurt a lot. I was so terrified I called for my mom, but she wasn't home. My stepfather came into my room, and Ana paused, unable to continue. Detective Gomez exchanged a look with Dr. Martinez before speaking again. It's okay, Ana. You've been extremely brave. Can you tell me? What happened after Miguel was born? Ana took a deep breath, her eyes fixated on the baby in her arms. My stepfather departed, advised me not to say anything because it was a secret, but I was so afraid, and Miguel wouldn't. Stop sobbing, so I hurried away and got to the hospital. Detective Gomez nodded, his face a mask of professionalism that barely masked his shock and rage. You did the right thing, Ana. You were really brave to seek treatment, as the detective made a few notes. Dr. Ramirez approached Ana. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Do you need to rest? Ana shook her head. I'm good. I simply want to know what's going to happen now. Investigator Gomez put away his notebook and looked at Ana seriously. Ana, we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe. Your stepfather won't be able to mistreat you ever again. And my mama Ana inquired, her voice shaking slightly. The detective shared a look with Elena, who had just entered the room. It was the social worker who replied, Ana, we haven't been able to locate your mom yet, but I promise we're doing everything we can to find her and comprehend the complete situation. Ana nodded, slowly considering the information. Then, to everyone's astonishment, she requested, Can I stay here at the hospital? I feel comfortable here. Dr. Ramirez smiled warmly. For now. Yeah, you'll stay here, but ultimately we'll need to find a more permanent place for you and for Miguel. Shall we be apart? Ana said. Worry clear in. Her voice. Elena stepped closer, her voice gentle but strong. Ana, the problem is tricky. You're really young to care for a baby on your own, but I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe. And well cared for. Ana seemed to dwell on this for a time before speaking again. Can I learn to take care of him better? I want to be a good parent to Miguel." The room lapsed into a painful stillness. It was Lucia who eventually spoke, her eyes shining with emotion. "Anna, dear, you're already a fantastic parent. You care for Miguel and want the best for him. It's what counts most." Dr. Martinez softly interfered Anna. "It's normal that you want to take care of Miguel, but it's also crucial for you to remember that you're still a child. You need the chance to grow, to learn, to play. You don't have to carry all the responsibility by yourself." Anna nodded, slowly though. It was evident that the notion of being separated from Miguel terrified her. "Yet would I still get to see him, even if he doesn't reside with me?" Elena smiled warmly. "We'll do anything way possible to make sure you can keep a relationship with Miguel, Anna. But for now, let's focus on making sure both of you are well and safe." Good. The rest of the afternoon passed in a frenzy of physicians, nurses, and social workers. Anna, tired by the day's emotions, eventually fell asleep with Miguel snoozing sweetly in his cot. Next to her bed outside the room, the medical and legal team gathered. "To discuss the next steps, the case is obvious," said Detective Gomez. "Child abuse, rape of a minor, irresponsibility on the side of the mother. We're going to prosecute the stepfather to the utmost extent of the law." And the mother, Dr. Ramirez, questioned. Elena moaned heavily. "We still haven't been able to locate her, but considering the conditions, it's unlikely she'll be able to keep custody of Anna. What will happen to Anna and Miguel?" Lucia, who had entered the talk after assuring both youngsters were asleep, requested for. "Now they'll remain at the hospital," Elena answered. "We're seeking for a foster family that can handle this unique scenario. Ideally, one who can take in both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily." Dr. Martinez spoke up. "Anna will need rigorous therapy. She's been through significant trauma, and it will take a long time for her to recover." Dr. Ramirez nodded. "And will need to constantly check both their health. Anna is far too young to have given birth. We'll need to make sure there are no long-term issues," while the team proceeded to debate the circumstances of the case. In the room, Anna stirred in her sleep, her hand automatically reaching out for Miguel's. Even in her nightmares, her need to protect the baby was strong. Night fell over the hospital, bringing with it a surface tranquility. Yet everyone knew this was simply the beginning. The days and weeks ahead will bring more hurdles, more painful decisions, and hopefully, the beginning of a healing journey for Anna and Miguel. Lucia, who had volunteered for the night shift, sat in a chair beside Anna's bed, watching over the girl and the baby as they slept. As she glanced at their tranquil features, she couldn't help but feel a mix of sadness and hope. "They're going to be okay," she mumbled to herself, "like a promise. We'll make sure of it." And so, as the outside globe continued to spin, oblivious to the drama occurring within the hospital walls, Anna and Miguel slept knowing of the decisions being made about their future, of the lives they had touched and impacted forever, and of the obstacles that yet lay ahead. The second day was drawing to an end. But Anna and Miguel's story was far from complete. And as the night progressed, a sense of determination settled around everyone connected in the case. They would do everything in their power to secure a better future for these two youngsters, no matter the hurdles they might confront. The dawn of the third day in San Rafael General Hospital brought with it a mix of eagerness and nervousness. The story of Anna and Miguel had circulated among the workers, and while everyone kept an air of professionalism, it was evident that the case had strongly impacted every one person involved. Lucia, who had stayed up all night, caring for Anna and Miguel, was relieved by Carmen, another nurse who had been following the situation carefully. "How was the night?" Carmen inquired quietly, as Lucia handed over the night's report. Lucia moaned, running a tired hand through her hair. "Slightly. Quiet. Anna had a nightmare about 3 a.m., but I managed to settle her down without awakening." Miguel. Carmen nodded, her face a mixture of sympathy and resolve. "Thank you, Lucia. Go get some rest. I'll take it from here." When Lucia left the room, Dr. Ramirez arrived, For his morning rounds, his face exhibited symptoms of weariness, yet his eyes were attentive and full of worry. "Good morning." Carmen he greeted in a hushed voice. "How are our unique patients this morning? They're still sleeping, doctor," Carmen answered. "Anna had a bit of a difficult night, but Miguel has been tranquil." Dr. Ramirez nodded, reaching the bed where Anna slept. The girl seemed small and fragile under the hospitals, white blankets next to her in a special crib. Miguel slept. Blissfully, they're going to have a busy day. The doctor said more to himself than to Carmen. Social services will be here to discuss the future steps, and the police need to ask a few more questions at that moment. Anna began to twitch her eyes slowly. Opening for a minute, she seemed disoriented, but then the truth of her situation appeared to reach her, and her eyes filled with tears. "Good morning, Anna," Dr. Ramirez remarked, gently approaching the bed. "How are you feeling this morning?" Anna sat up slowly. Glanced immediately seeking for Miguel, seeing the baby sleeping soundly in his cradle. She relaxed, as small. "I'm okay," she said quietly. "Is Miguel?" "Okay." Carmen went forward with a warm smile. "He's totally all right, sweetie. He slept through the night." Anna nodded, though it was evident something was upsetting her. Noting her concern, Dr. Ramirez perched on the side of the bed. "Anna," he began quietly, "some people are coming today to chat with you and with us about what happens next, I know. That might be scary, but I want you to know we're all here to help you, okay?" Anna nodded slowly, her eyes full with unsaid concerns. Are they going to take Miguel away?" she finally questioned in a scarcely audible tone. Dr. Ramirez softly grasped Anna's hand. "Anna, the situation is complicated. You're really young to take care of a kid on your own, but I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and properly cared for." At that point, Miguel began to whimper gently. Anna immediately leaned toward the crib, her face full of anxiety. Hungry," she said, startling the adults with her intuition. Carmen grinned, moving, approaching the crib. "You're right. Anna, would you like to help me prepare his bottle?" Anna's eyes brightened up at the offer, and for a while she seemed to forget her troubles as she helped Carmen feed Miguel. By mid-morning, Elena, the social worker, arrived, accompanied by a woman on it. Didn't recognition. Dr. Ramirez met them outside the room. "Good morning, Elena." The doctor. "Hello, how's everything doing, Elena?" Sighed, her face exhibiting symptoms of exhaustion. "It's been a long night, doctor, but I hope we have good news. This is Mrs. Martinez, one of our best foster parents." Mrs. Martinez, a middle-aged woman with a lovely smile. Smile extended her hand. "It's a joy, doctor. I've heard a lot about Anna and Miguel." Dr. Ramirez nodded, a flicker of hope in his eyes. "Are they thinking?" Elena nodded. "Mrs. Martinez and her husband are willing to foster both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily, because have experience with complicated cases, and we believe they could be a good fit." The relief on Dr. Ramos's face was clear. "That's wonderful news, but first we need talk to Anna. She's been through a lot, and we need to approach this sensitively." They entered the room where Anna was sitting on the bed holding Miguel as Carmen showed her how to change a diaper. Elena replied, quietly, "There's someone here who would like to meet you." Anna looked up, her gaze shifting between Elena and Mrs. Martinez with a mix of eagerness and worry. Mrs. Martinez approached with a bright grin. "Hi, Anna, I'm Isabel Martinez. I've heard a lot about you and Miguel." Anna instantly held Miguel tighter. "Are they going to take him away?" she questioned, worry obvious in her voice. Elena swiftly stepped in. "No, Anna, Mrs. Martinez's come to talk about the idea of you and Miguel living with her and her family for a while." Anna's eyes widened in surprise together. Mrs. Martinez nodded, sitting on the edge of the bed. "Yes, lover. My husband and I have a spacious house with lots of space. We have expertise taking care of youngsters who had been through terrible situations. Anna seemed to ponder this information for a minute. But will I still be able to taking care of Miguel? Mrs. Martinez smiled pleasantly. Of course you'll be able to help take care of Miguel, but we also want you to have the chance to be a child. Anna Topley to learn to grow. As the talk progressed, Dr. Ramirez looked intently. It was evident that Anna was battling with a mixture of feelings, dread, hope, and confusion. Anna, the doctor, stated gently, I know this is a lot to take in. Do you have any questions for Mrs. Martinez? Anna bit her lip, pondering. Eventually, in a quivering voice, she questioned, What if my mom looks for me? The room lapsed into a tense quiet. It was Elena who finally responded. Anna, we're still trying to locate your mom, but for now, the most essential thing is to make sure you and Miguel are secure and well cared for. Mrs. Martinez added softly. And if your mom looks for you, we'll work together to decide what's best for you. And Miguel, your safety and well-being are the most crucial things. Anna nodded slowly, though it was evident she still had many reservations just then. Miguel began to stir in her arms, as if sensing the strain in the room. Show, it's okay, Anna murmured gently, rocking the infant the normal way, she soothed. Miguel didn't go unnoticed by the grown-ups in the room. Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance with Elena before. Hey, Anna, how would you feel if Mrs. Martinez came to see you over the next few days? That way you can get to know her better and ask her any questions you want. Anna seemed to consider the notion for a time before nodding shilly okay. She murmured quietly. Mrs. Martinez smiled warmly. I'd love that, Anna, and if you'd... Perhaps I can bring you some books or games to keep you busy while you're in the hospital for the first time since? The conversation began. A faint smile came on Anna's face. Genuinely could. You bring literature about angels like Miguel. Mrs. Martinez nodded, visibly moved. Of course. Sweetie, I'll bring the best angel literature I can locate. As the conversation progressed, the vibe in the room gradually began to relax. Anna, though still guarded, looked more receptive to the notion of Mrs. Martinez outside the room. Detective Gomez was waiting to meet with Dr. Ramirez and Elena. How's it going? The detective questioned quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. It's a slow procedure, but I think we're making progress. Mrs. Martinez seems like a solid alternative for Anna, and Miguel. Elena nodded. There's still a lot to do, but it's a solid start. Any update on Anna's mother or stepfather? The detective scowled. We still haven't been able to locate the mother. As for the stepfather, we have him in jail. He was captured yesterday night trying to cross the border. The news was welcomed with a mixture of relief and anxiety. On one hand, the man who had harmed Anna was no longer an immediate threat. On the other, his capture meant the case would shortly enter a new phase, one that would inevitably be difficult for Anna. When would Anna need to testify? Dr. Ramirez asked, the worry obvious in his voice. Weak, doing everything we can to avoid having Anna go through a trial. The detective responded with the medical proof and the confession we're expecting to receive. We might be able to spare her that more trauma. Elena exhaled with satisfaction. That would be better. Anna has already been through too much. While the adults discussed the legal issues of the case inside the room, Anna had begun to relax a little more around Mrs. Martinez. The woman had pulled out her phone and was showing Anna photographs of her house and garden. We have a swing in the rear, Mrs. Martinez explained, and lots of flowers. Do you like flowers? Anna nodded. Shy, why, I like sunflowers. They're huge and beautiful. Mrs. Martinez smiled. What a serendipity. We have a beautiful sunflower garden. Maybe you could assist me take care of them when you come to live. Seeing us for the first time since coming at the hospital, Anna's eyes lit up with something like hope. Could I truly do that? Of course, dear, Mrs. Martinez replied. And you could help me cook too if you'd like. Do you like to cook? Anna shook her head. I've never cooked. But I'd like to learn. The talk continued with Mrs. Martinez, attentively discussing life at her home, answering all of Anna's queries, and reassuring her again and again that both she and Miguel would be welcomed and cared. For as the day proceeded, the medical personnel couldn't help but notice the slow shift in Anna. Though she was still clearly afraid and confused, there was a spark of hope in her eyes. Something hadn't been there before approaching sunset as Mrs. Martinez prepared to leave. Anna shocked everyone with a question, when might we go to your place? She whispered quietly, as if terrified of the response. Dr. Amir says we need to make sure you and Miguel are strong enough to leave the hospital. Nodded slightly. But I promise as soon as the doctor says you're ready with a loving, my husband and I will be here to take you home. Anna nodded, a faint smile growing on her lips. Thank you, she murmured as Mrs. Martinez left, promising to return the next day with literature on angels. Dr. Ramirez approached Anna. How are you feeling, Anna? He questioned softly. Anna gazed at Miguel, who was sleeping happily in her arms, before saying, I'm terrified, she admitted. But I think Mrs. Martinez is sweet and I want Miguel to be secure. Dr. Ramirez smiled compassionately at Anna's remarks. That's extremely mature of you, Anna, and your true Mrs. Martinez sounds like a really excellent person. We're doing everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are secure and happy. Anna nodded, her eyes fixated on the sleeping infant in her arms. Doctor, she murmured gently, do you think I'm a terrible person for wanting to keep Miguel? I know I'm pretty young, but I don't. Want to let him go? Dr. Ramirez's heart ached at her question. He perched on the edge of the bed, selecting his words carefully. Anna, listened to me, he began gently. You are not a horrible person at all. The love you feel for Miguel is beautiful and pure. Although you're true, you're still very young. Your responsibility now is to grow, learn and recover. And we can make sure Miguel stays in your life while you do all of that. Tears began to roll down Anna's cheeks. I'm frightened. H.E.K. Forget me, she muttered. Dr. Ramirez took her hand gently. That won't happen. Anna, Mrs. Martinez already stated. You may be part of Miguel's life and we'll make sure it happens just then. Lucia entered the room, having arrived for her afternoon shift, seeing Anna's tears. She swiftly came over. What's wrong, dear? She asked. Sitting on the opposite side of the bed, Anna sobbed softly. I'm terrified, Lucia. Everything is changing and I don't know what's going to happen. Lucia enveloped her in a gentle hug, conscious of the baby still in Anna's arms. Oh, my darling, it's normal to feel terrified. Yet look at how many individuals are here to aid you. Dr. Ramirez, me. Mrs. Martinez, Elena. We all desire what's best for you and for Miguel. Anna leaned into Lucia's embrace, finally, allowing herself to cry freely for the first time. Upon arriving at the hospital, Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged anxious glances, yet they both understood that this was necessary, even healthy. After a few minutes, Anna calmed down, wiping her tears. With her free hand, remarkably. Miguel had slept through the entire episode. I'm sorry, Anna murmured, embarrassed. You have nothing to apologize for? Lucia informed her, gently stroking her hair. Sometimes crying is exactly what we need. Dr. Ramirez nodded. In agreement, Anna. You've been wonderfully tough, but it's good not to be strong all the time because we're here to help you. Just then, Miguel began to stir, opening his small eyelids and making soft, uncomfortable noises. I suppose he's hungry, Anna, murmured, her attention quickly focused on the infant. Lucia grinned. You're probably right. Do you want me to get a bottle ready? Anna nodded gently, cradling Miguel while Lucia went to make the baby's food. Dr. Ramirez watched with awe as Anna, despite her own anguish and terror, focused totally on Miguel's needs. Anna, the doctor, whispered softly, Do you know that you're an outstanding person? Anna looked up, shocked me. Dr. Ramirez nodded. Yep, you've been through something no child should ever have to experience, and yet here you are caring for Miguel with so much love and attention. That's incredible. Anna blushed slightly at the compliment. I just want him to be okay, she murmured. And he will be the doctor. Assured her thanks to you. Lucia returned. with the bottle and handed it to Anna, who began feeding Miguel with a proficiency that amazed both parents. "You're performing fantastic," Lucia observed with a smile. Anna smiled nervously. "Carmen taught me," she says. "I'm a quick learner as Miguel at." Dr. Ramirez realized it was time to handle something he had been postponing. Anna began, slowly. "There's something I need to tell you. The cops, they located your stepfather." Anna visibly tightened her eyes, gaping with panic. Is he coming here?" No, the doctor swiftly reassured her. "He's in police custody. He can't hurt you ever again." Anna seemed to process this information, her gaze sliding to Miguel. "What's going to happen now?" she murmured quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. "Well, there will be a legal process. But we're doing everything we can to make sure you don't have to be too engaged. Your job now is to focus on recovering and taking care of yourself." And Miguel, Lucia said softly, "And we be here to help you every step of the way." Anna nodded slowly. Though it was apparent the news had shaken her. Miguel, having finished his lunch, squirmed in her arms. "I suppose baby has to burp," Anna stated once again, exhibiting her maternal instincts. Lucia smiled. "You're right. Would you like me to show you how to do it?" Anna happily nodded, and Lucia continued to teach her how to gently throw Miguel over her shoulder and pat his back. Dr. Ramirez watched the event with a mix of adoration and melancholy, completely aware of the complicated circumstances these two toddlers were in, as the afternoon wore on more hospital workers. Stopped by Anna's room, some came under the guise of medical examinations. While others simply wanted to say hello, it was evident that Anna and Miguel's story had severely moved everyone in the hospital. Carmen, who had concluded her shift hours earlier, returned with a tiny box in her hands. "Hey, Anna," she greeted with a smiling. "I got you something." Anna stared at the package with curiosity form. Carmen nodded and handed her the gift. Anna cautiously opened it, revealed stealing a small photo album. "I assumed you might wish to save some." "Memories of Miguel." Carmen said, "I've put in some images I've shot of the two of you over the past few days, and there's space for many more." Anna's eyes filled with tears as she glanced through the album. There were images of her feeding Miguel, the baby sleeping sweetly in her arms, and both of them gazing at each other with pure love. "Thank you, Anna," whispered, hugging the album to her chest. "It's wonderful." Carmen's gesture seemed to unlock the floodgates throughout the next 2 hours. More staff. Members brought modest gifts and symbols of devotion. One nurse gave a teddy bear for Miguel, another, a tale book for Anna. Even the cleaners' staff joined in bringing drawings created by their children to decorate Anna's room. Dr. Ramirez watched all of this with a mixture of pride and emotion, seeing the entire hospital come together to support this beautiful girl and her baby. Was very moving. By the end of the day, Anna's room had been transformed. What was previously a sterile hospital room was now filled with bright color, toys, books, and most critically, love-weary but noticeably more calm than in previous days, Anna prepared for bed. Lucia helped her settle in, making sure Miguel was comfy in his crib. Lucia, Anna remarked sleepily, "Do you think everything's going to be okay?" Lucia smiled, warmly touching Anna's hair. "Okay, love. I believe everything will be. Good, you have so many people that love and support you, and you're stronger than you suppose." Anna nodded, her eyes slowly closing. "Thank you," she said before. Falling off to sleep, Lucia sat by the bed for a bit, watching Anna and Miguel sleep sweetly. Then she quietly exited the room and saw Dr. Ramirez in the corridor. "How are they?" the doctor asked in a quiet voice. "Asleep," Lucia said with a tired smile. "It's been a long day, but I think it's been wonderful for Anna. She needed to experience all this support." Dr. Ramirez nodded, his gaze going toward the window at the end of the hall. The sun was sinking, casting the sky in colors of orange and pink, the doctor said carefully. When Anna initially came in 3 days ago, I feared the worst, yet seeing her today. Seeing how everyone has come together to support her, it gives me hope. Lucia nodded in accord. It's amazing how a small girl and a newborn can bring so many people together, and that's precisely what they'll need in the days to come. Dr. Ramirez stated the path ahead won't be easy, but at least they won't have to face it alone, as the Sundisa appeared below the horizon, signaling. The end of the third day, both Lucia and Dr. Ramirez remained in silence, meditating on the events of the past several days and the problems that still lay ahead within the room. Anna slept calmly for the first time since her admission at the hospital. Miguel, as if sensing his young mother's serenity, also relaxed calmly, and though the future was still uncertain, there was a sensation of hope in the air, a sense that with the appropriate love and support, these two youngsters could overcome any problems. Life had in store for them the third day. Day was finishing. But Anna and Miguel's adventure was far from ended, however. They now had something they didn't have when it all began, a family not of blood, but of heart, ready to fight for them. And guarantee they had the chance for a bright and love-filled future.